skin on it. I just wanted to show you all this so that you can see how to trim it, or how I choose to trim it. Basically what I do is, as you can see, the silver skin's getting left behind right at the base. So I'll make 2 or 3 cuts out to expose that tail piece of the silver skin. Now I take this big flat bladed knife, holding the silver skin and coming from the other direction, and the whole thing comes off in one chunk. So now I got a pretty clean piece of meat. We're going to just trim off this last little bit. There you go. You see I started my tag. Flip it back over. Put the blade flat against the cutting board. And I'll start shaving. I've now got a really nice clean piece of whole meat there. Okay, this is all one muscle piece of meat. Most people do it this way. They put it on the top and start trimming it off. I find that I waste a lot of meat doing it that way. Therefore, I flip it over. All right, now I just cut into small slices. I'd already done most of this. While I'm finishing up this last piece of meat, I just wanted to talk to you about my spice blends. I used to try and do this much salt, this much pepper, this much such and such to make my spice blends. And what I've started doing now, well, have been doing now for a number of years, is to use my prepackaged spices. You can see here, I bought this at Gander Mountain. It was on sale, $1.99. It makes 25 pounds of sausage spice. So, there again, just so that you can see once again, I'm exposing that silver skin. This here is the tail piece of the back strap, and this is neck meat. So I just come in and try and trim that out a little bit, getting right along the silver skin. And then this is everything that I've cut off. What I'm going to do whenever I go to make my next batch of sausage is I will save this to put into the very last of the grinder. That way the last part of the good sausage will be pushed out and this meat will be left in the grinder, because when you get done with the grinders, there's always a half a pound or so of good sausage left in the grinder that usually gets dumped. There again, I expose the tip of that silver skin, trim it right off. I'm trying to be real consistent. I'm on getting the width of this meat. Just push that aside. Now I'm not going to measure exactly, but some brown sugar. Typically I put in about a half a cup. Then I have an open package of the spice, as I showed you a few minutes ago. And that's probably about a third of a package. And I figure I've got 4 pounds of the meat ready. So I'm just going to do that about like that. So that's probably about a cup of the spice, and this is a quick cure. It's a sodium nitrite mixture. And I always add that just because there's a time in the process when it's possible that the meat could get off temperature. And then this I will mix with soy sauce or Worcestershire, teriyaki, any of those, depending on what it is that you're after. So I'll wet mix this and then add it to the meat, blend it real well, put it in a gallon Ziploc, set it in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 days, and then we'll put it in the dehydrator. So I'll come back to you then. Okay, well, I made a quick trip off to Walmart because I ran out of soy sauce. Just thought I'd start here. I particularly like soy sauce taste. Some people like the Worcestershire, others like the teriyaki seasoning. So what I do now is just add enough soy sauce to get this all liquid. I don't want it overboard, but just where it's in a liquid state, as you can see there. I got my slightly larger mixing pan up now. So there's my 4 pounds of meat, into which I will add my sluice. And then mix thoroughly. Okay, that's really about it. We're gonna, give me just a second here. So from this point, all I'm gonna do is bag this up, let it sit in the fridge 2 or 3 days, and then next part will be the dehydrator. And I'll get that out. As you can see, I'm not after any liquids in the bottom of the bowl. Just meat and spices. And that'll all soak in real good. All right, guys, so this time I'm back again. I've got my Ronco dehydrator available on YouTube for 38 bucks or so. 5 stacks of trays. And I'm moving on forward with the process, even though it hadn't been time yet. Okay, so as you can see, meat's nice thin strips, looks real good. But what I want to do is just start laying them out. Try and flatten each one out real good. If there's a piece that seems too fat, too thick to you, you can, now I've done whole sections with a meat hammer. But as you can see, I'm just taking it and layering out tray after tray of the jerky machine here. So one thing I've found is that when you're laying out your jerky, you want most of the pieces to touch, but you want to leave an air hole on each side, which allows the heat to rise up to the second tray. Now I take these trays and I rotate them every 3 to 5 hours, just because I happen to be able to get home and do that. But if you can't, you know, just do it as often as you can. Change it before you go to work, change it when you get home in the evening. So you see I'm leaving a little air space there. Now the Ronco